Hi again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video in The Sims 4. Happy Monday. I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far and thank you so much for joining me here today. We are building in Newcrest today on this 30 by 20 lot. I believe this lot was originally called, is it Midtown Meadows or Mid Meadows, something like that. I'm probably way off base, but that's the lot that we're building on today. We're building a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom family house for 6 Sims. And it's base game only. Like, this is amazing. I was feeling super inspired to do a base game only build and I found a reference on Pinterest. I'll pop it on screen for you now so that you can see what I was aiming towards. Obviously, as you can see, I kept the exact shape. All I did was play around with the colour scheme. I really wanted to try this colour scheme for some time. I've seen other creators use this sort of dark green panelling with the base game windows in this lovely sort of chestnut brown swatch is what I would describe it as, and so that's what I decided to do with this house. I'm really pleased with this how this house turned out, and I can't wait to share it with you all, so please let me know what you think in the comments down below as always. But we are currently working on the exterior structure here and the shape has pretty much come together already. It came together really quickly because I knew exactly what I wanted to do going into this house and going into the video, because I feel like it's been a really long time since I've actually built a house, which I know sounds crazy but my last speed build was an apartment that I renovated for twin sisters. I'll pop a card up in the right hand corner for you now. If you haven't seen that video, please consider checking it out. That's a really fun one. I have decided this year to do more apartment speed builds because they're really nice place fillers for when I don't really have the time to put together a full house, and I know you guys really like apartments. I really enjoy renovating apartments, so it's a win-win for everyone, and it just means that I can get more content out for you this year as well, which is my main goal. But yes, it feels like it's been a while since I've actually built a house. In reality, the last house I built was one that EA and The Sims actually asked me to build. I'll pop a card in the right hand corner for you now. They asked me to put together a tutorial on how to build a basic house in The Sims 4, so that's what I did, and that's the last time I actually built a house. So this is really refreshing for me to just sit down, pop together a speed build and do a voiceover. This is my comfort zone. I love doing this and I really hope you enjoy the video. So I am currently messing around with a few colour schemes here as well, because I was initially thinking that maybe I could add some pops of pink or something like that, and then I come away from that very quickly because I realised that it just wasn't giving off the vibe that I wanted it to. So I was like, yeah, let's just stick with these white flower boxes here. And I do change something off camera as well, specifically a roof piece that I decide to add to this front portion here, and then I realized when I was trying to take the screenshots at the end of the build that I didn't actually like how it looked, so I ended up removing them off camera because I'd already completed the house and I'd already got the footage together. So I was like, okay, I'll just take it off. I don't think it really matters, but I thought it was worth mentioning. And obviously, because it's base game only, I do end up pulling out some landscaping items from the debug menu from the base game, and these are a lifesaver if you're looking to save a little bit of cash, and also if you're looking for a little bit more range in the landscaping. I've just said landscaping, in the landscaping items that you use. So debug is a lifesaver. Just thought that was worth mentioning as well. But I also use a lot of landscaping items from the non-debug menu, so just in the normal landscaping menu, just in the build area here. I don't know why did I just describe it like that? I have no idea. I have had a cold for almost 2 weeks now, and I'm just starting to feel somewhat human again, and I feel like my brain's gone a bit scrambled, so you'll have to bear with me during this voiceover because I'm still not 100% feeling myself. Anyway, that's the roof piece that I was referring to earlier. I do end up removing this entirely before I uploaded this house, so that will not be there. I just think it looked a lot better without it, and I'm hoping you agree. If you want to add it back in because you like the look of it, then just add it back in. It doesn't really matter. And then you'll see me there just having a look at some of the different lighting options as well, because I wasn't convinced while I was building this house that the afternoon was the best time of day to actually do it. What I realised when I was taking the screenshots was it was just before sunset, the ideal time of day was, but it doesn't matter. It's I don't even know why I'm mentioning that, but anyway. And this is me sifting through the debug menu again. You'll see me doing this quite a bit, but there's something that I do off camera as well, and that's basically I landscape the back of the build and add the windows as well, because obviously you've already seen me do it at the front of the build, so you can see here it's already up, it's there. We're just outlining the garden area here. There's not much going on in the garden. I had in mind that this house was for 6 Sims, so I had to make sure that there was plenty of things for the kids to do. So there's some monkey bars, and then there's also some flower boxes so that your Sims can plant some berries or fruits or whatever they want to do. So I thought that was a really nice idea. And then I end up doing this terrain paint twice because for some reason it disappeared after I'd put it down, but it did it right in front of my eyes. I've known terrain paint to disappear when you load back into the game. I've never known it to disappear right in front of your eyes, which is what it does here. I'm just trying to work out whether I was pressing undo, not knowing that I was pressing undo, and then maybe that's why. Like, can you see there? Did I just press undo? Someone please tell me, because I wasn't even paying attention. I looked down for some reason, but I'm pretty sure I pressed undo and then just undid all of the terrain paint. So I'm hoping that's what happened, because if not, that's a glitch that I'm not down with. I'm going to be completely honest. So I do end up adding these 2 cute little chairs just on the back here as well, so that your Sims can enjoy the garden and the scenery. And then we move on to the floor plan on the ground floor. I end up divvying up the floor plan on the upper floor before I decorate it. So we actually finished decorating the ground floor first, which is not unusual for me. It's not unusual for me at all, and it's a very strange way of building. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm realizing just how strange it is. But I should really be planning ahead and thinking, well, if I'm doing a house for 8 Sims, for example, then I need to be allowing myself enough bedroom space upstairs, and I did not do that with this house. I just thought, let's just see what we can fit. There is a bedroom on the ground floor of this house, and it's for one of the kids, so I hope that's not too much of a problem. I was initially going to put the main bedroom down here, and then I was like, I want to give them an ensuite, and the floor plan just didn't really allow for that, so I decided to put the child down here instead, which I thought worked quite well with the rest of the build. Can you see what's happening? Like with how I'm talking, my brain can't catch up. Anyway, this is the living room, and I really like how the living room turned out. I have noticed that when I'm doing a base game only build, my living rooms pretty much look the same. I don't have much of a range when it comes to my living rooms with base game items, because we are restricted with the items in base game. I've said this for a long time. I think the base game needs a little overhaul. Just give us some extra sofas, couple of armchairs, just some bits and bats, because I feel like it's quite dated. So a little refresh would be fantastic. So fingers crossed for that this year. I suppose we'll have to see. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So 99% of my base game only homes have a living room that looks pretty much the same as this. So I do apologise for that, but there's very little that my brain can do with base game. So I do apologise. As much as I think you can create some fantastic builds with base game, I'm unfortunately not one of those people. I don't have much of a range. My sweet spot is definitely like suburban family houses. So all of my base game houses have been suburban family houses. I would really like to test myself this year and do more modern builds on the channel, because that is just an architectural style that I have not been able to master. I cannot get my head around it because I clutter up my builds, I think, and over landscape and add tons and tons of detailing. I think for me with modern builds, it's a bit like, I'm not saying modern builds can't be detailed, because some of the modern builds I see on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube from simmers who are far more talented than I am, I'm not saying you can't be detailed, but I think my level of detailing is definitely not for modern houses. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does. As always, I have rambled through one of the entire rooms, and the living room is almost complete. So I just end up adding a few more wall decor pieces just because like things were looking a little bit bare. And then we do move on to the downstairs bathroom here. This is a full bathroom, so there's a shower tub combination, a toilet and a sink. The shape is very strange, but I think we utilized all the space in a really, really good way. So I think it works really, really well. It was important for me to have 3 full bathrooms in this house because there's 6 Sims is a lot of Sims, especially when you consider 2 of them are going to be adults and 4 of them are going to be kids or teens or toddlers or whatever. I didn't decorate for toddlers, so if you do have toddlers, then you might need to swap out some of the beds. But we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get onto the kids' rooms. But this is the hallway here as well. This is very plainly decorated because it's such a small space. But I did want to make sure that I made it feel really, really homey and just welcoming, because obviously that's the first room you walk in when you walk into the house. And then believe it or not, this is the kitchen. And just bear with me here, do not freak out, because before I started building this, I was freaking out. I was thinking, what is the shape of this kitchen? And I don't know why I do this with one of my base game builds. I'll link it up in the top right hand corner for you now. I did a very, very similar kitchen where there's counters everywhere because of like the room shape and then the door placement and the window placement. But this ends up being probably one of my favourite kitchens that I've ever decorated. I think it looks fantastic. It's really warm and friendly. And I just really, really like it. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments down below if you agree or disagree. Obviously, you can disagree. That's absolutely fine. You can always change it if you do download this house. But I really like this. I think it's full of character and it's just fab. I don't know what else to say. I really, really like it. So I do end up switching the dining room table. I end up flipping it round and removing 2 of the chairs because I was having some routing issues with my Sims using the cooker and I think I put a coffee machine on the left hand side. Oh no, what do I put on the left hand side? I can't remember. I was having some routing issues, so I flipped the table around and removed the 2 end chairs, so there's only 4 chairs in there. But this house does have a separate dining room as well, so I thought that kind of worked. I know it's kind of awkward because there are 6 Sims in this house and there's 6 chairs here currently, but then I change it up and there ends up being 4 chairs. So I'm thinking maybe the kids can go and eat in their room or in the living room or something like that, or I don't know. You might have to work it out while you're playing, but you might be able to put the dining room table back the way that it is now and you might not have any routing issues. It's just that I like my builds 99% of the time to be completely functional when you download them, and the last thing I want you to have to do is mess around and move some items. I'm sure you have to do that with some of my builds, I'm sure you do, but I try my best to not, so that you don't have to do that. Anyway, this is the very oddly shaped dining room. I've come to the realization that most of the rooms in this house are an odd shape because the house is quite an odd shape, but I just roll with it. I would much rather the outside looked like spawn and then I just have to tackle the interior, and it's a nice little challenge for myself as well. So I don't know why I do it to myself because it's quite frustrating sometimes, but anyway, the dining room proved to be a little bit of a challenge because of the shape, and there is a point here when there's 2 bookcases and then I quickly remove one because I'm like, why would you have 2 bookcases in here? But yeah, the dining room's quite it's quite uninspiring, I think is maybe the word that I would use here. And then I end up fiddling around for far too long with some of the artwork, so you might want to grab a beverage while I'm doing this because I didn't cut it out of the footage either because I like you to see as much of the process as possible, because when I watch speed builds, I like to see people's process because it's nice to know that people are as indecisive as me, and 2, they make as many mistakes as I do, because as a builder I do make quite a few mistakes, so it's just nice to see that in other people's speed builds. So I do leave it in my videos because I like you to see the entire process, or as much of the process as is physically possible. So this is me attempting to find something for this wall because I'm like, there's got to be something here. So I end up putting like a little hallway table here with a plant on, and then I mess around with the plants because I wasn't liking how the plants were looking. And then eventually I wash my hands of this room because I'm like, I'm done with it. Like, this is boring me now. So I just leave it as it is. And then we move on to the ground floor bedroom. So my thought process for the child that's in here is that they're a slightly older child. They're possibly not a teen, but they're not a young child either. So the parents don't mind them having this room on the ground floor. And I just cluttered this room within an inch of its life, as I did with the other kids' rooms on the top floor as well, because I've said this before as well, but the base game items that we got for like decorating kids' rooms are really versatile. There's actually quite a lot of them. When you strip everything else out, when you say to yourself, right, I am only going to use base game, you can create some fantastic kids' rooms. So I really, really like that about The Sims 4, because a lot of people do have the base game and only the base game, so it's really nice to see that people can actually put something together and it just be full of life and full of character. So yes, anyway, I've gone on another ramble, but yeah, this room is probably, I don't think it's the biggest kids room, but it's not the smallest either. I think the smallest one is on the top floor, but I can't remember what sort of dynamic I went with. I know one of the rooms has a bunk bed and the other one has a single bed, but I think this smaller room has the bunk bed, funnily enough. Rachel Logic coming in hot there. What else can I say? There's a toy box in here, there's plenty of clutter, there's plenty of activities, there's a little violin here. So I didn't really think about any specific sort of activities or hobbies that this child was into. I didn't think about any specific gender in any of the rooms either. They're all very gender neutral. They're all pretty well-rounded in terms of the decor and also the activities that the kids can do. So I was quite proud of that, actually. So, and then little baby Yoda going on here as well, because I love baby Yoda so much. I was so pleased when the Sims team added that to the game. I remember it was a few years ago now, and I remember I put a post on Tumblr and I put Yoda on a chair in a living room and put the fire on. And I made a post that said, "Toasty I am." Oh, why is that so funny? It's probably not. Anyway, moving swiftly on to the upper floor here, and trying to work the floor plan out was a little bit hard. This is my second attempt at it, because the first attempt made no sense whatsoever. So I thought, I can't put that in the video. That's just embarrassing. So even though I've gone off on a tangent there saying that I like to include as much as possible in my videos, sometimes it's okay to leave stuff out because it's embarrassing. So this is the main bedroom here. As you can see, I decorated the ensuite and then also the main bathroom on the upper floor off camera, because I didn't really feel the need to do them on camera because they're pretty much the same as the one downstairs, just slightly different in terms of colour schemes and decor and things, so I just didn't feel the need to include them in the footage. This room is very plainly decorated. My energy and time definitely went on the kids' rooms, and I'm not sorry about that, because that is the same for 99% of my houses, because I find main bedrooms a little bit dull. I'm just going to be honest, and that's maybe because I don't really enjoy decorating them and I don't really do anything different ever, whereas with kids' rooms I'm always doing something different. I'm always cluttering them up, and they're just more visually interesting and you can play around with more colours. So anyway, yes, this is the bunk bedroom, which is odd. I know, I'll take that, because this is the smaller room of the two, and then the other room has just a single bed in it. But my thought process was that the other room is maybe belonging to an older child. Maybe. Just go with it, because that I'm trying to rationalize it in my head and it's not working. So anyway, it is what it is. So again, a lot going on in here. There's tons of color. It's just really fun, and I had a blast creating these rooms. I would quite like to create a video that goes over how to use base game objects to create kids' rooms, because it can be so much fun if you know what you're looking for, and if you filter the objects by colour as well, you'll find swatches that you didn't even know existed. So if you're going for a yellow, blue and pink room, for example, kind of like this one is here, you'd go to the filter system for the items and you would filter by yellow, blue and pink, and some of the items that you will find will blow your mind. Trust me, blow your mind, because I still get surprised now when I filter by colour because I'm like, I've never seen that colour before. How have I never seen that? Anyway, this room's almost done because I've gone on a ramble again in the middle of a room, but it's okay because this room is fun and colourful. I think this one is more leaning towards maybe twin girls, but it's not overly like sickly pink or purple or anything like that. It's just that there are elements of more like, I don't know, pastels and pops of those sort of colours. And there's another Baby Yoda in here because I can't help myself. I can't remember if I put one in the third kids room. I want to say that I did. Baby Yoda is making an appearance in this build. What can I say? This is the final bedroom. This is probably my favourite of the three, and you'll very soon see why. So we're going for, again, quite an orangey, yellowy blue colour scheme, but I had in my mind again that this child was slightly older. So this child, for example, has a TV in this room, but it is a Penguin TV, so maybe they're not a teen. Again, maybe this family literally has 4 children, like 4 child Sims, which would be a nightmare, but that's kind of the dynamic that I had in my mind. If you've got a slightly different dynamic, then you can make these rooms look a little bit more grown up, or you can put toddler beds in, whatever you need to do. One thing to note here as well with the curtains, I do end up removing the ones in the middle and adding the ones that are sort of pinned back instead, because it looked a little bit less intense, because this looks quite intense right now, or at least I think so. Then I'm going in and adding a little toy car because I didn't even know that existed. Okay, so this guitar came with a free update as well with the Sims 4 base game. So if you do download this house from the gallery, that is flagged as like a pack, but it's not. It was part of a base game update, so that's the only item. If you weren't around when that happened, that's the only item that you'll be missing. I just thought that was worth mentioning as well. And then we just pretty much end up cluttering up this room again within an inch of its life, but that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you for sticking through my rambling, and because I'm not very well, I feel like I've rambled even more so than usual, so thank you for sticking around with me. But you can get this house from the gallery right now. My origin ID is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box below. You can get them for free from Sim File Share. But thank you so much everyone for joining me here today. You all take care, and I will see you next time I post a video. Bye!